Introduction. Every year presents us with a wonderful opportunity to start over again. Millions of Americans are always on the verge of setting their new resolutions for the year. Often this means tackling the old goals with a renewed sense of commitment and enthusiasm. Research shows that one of the most common New Year's resolutions is to lose weight and get into shape. Wunsch 2020. This comes as no surprise now that the US has the highest obesity and overweight rates globally. In fact, the developed countries experience much higher obesity rates compared to other nations. According to the World Health Organization, over 1.4 billion adults in 2014 were overweight. Worse, the predictions are set to continue, and it's estimated that about 42% of Americans will become obese by 2040. Nirvana Fitness, 2016. Interestingly, Americans aren't just lazing around, expecting miracles to happen for them to lose weight. People are genuinely doing their best to lose the extra pounds. Key findings from the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, CDC, reveal that between 2013 and 2016, over 49% of American adults tried to lose weight. There was also a higher percentage of women aiming to more strictly maintain their dietary and exercise habits compared to that of men, CDC 2018. With these statistics in mind, it's not surprising that the weight loss industry is a booming business. Americans are desperately looking for a solution to help them lose weight, and are thus spending more money on dieting and weight loss products, DRE 2021. What's more, most of them also engage in physical exercises that would help reduce weight. Despite these efforts, though, nothing seems to work. People have turned to what seems like an endless degree of exercise programs, weight loss books, dieting tips, and other various quick fix methods just to lose weight and be happy again in their own skin. This leaves us all wondering why these efforts seem to never pay off. So you might be wondering, why is losing weight so difficult? If you've been racking your brain to figure out why this might be happening to you, you're not alone. Scientifically, there are proven reasons why you may be finding it difficult to shed off those pounds. Cut yourself some slack. While you might be doing your best to lose weight, chances are that your body is working against you. And this is one of the main reasons why you might be struggling. The reality is that when we try to lose weight, we not only fight off our cravings, but we also fight the biological functioning of the body. For instance, weight loss might lead to an increase in the ghrelin hormone, a hormone that signals to the body that you're hungry. It also lowers the leptin hormone that would have signaled to the body that you're full. The imbalance of these hormones only makes it more challenging for you to keep the pounds off. This is one of the main reasons why fad diets do not work. Besides, losing weight takes time. You shouldn't fall for quick fixes that promise you to lose weight in a week or a month. It took years for you to gain all of the weight you are carrying. So expect to also take some time for you to lose some or all of it. What this means is that you should embrace the idea that losing weight takes time. It's imperative to be patient and trust the process, that if you keep doing the right thing, you will eventually cut weight. This also means that you should steer clear of temptations to try drastic weight loss challenges. Starvation diets and extreme exercises can cause havoc on your body's metabolism. Even worse, you will develop a negative attitude towards weight loss. When you feel like losing weight is nothing but torture, there is a small chance that you will keep up your long-term efforts to lose weight. This is where Effortless Fat Loss comes in. This guide is meant to simplify the fat loss process. First, accept that it's not your fault that you've tried everything but nothing seems to work. The issue is that you've been using the wrong information to help you burn fat and lose weight in the long run. Misleading information will only influence you to think that there is a quick way to lose weight. However, this manual simplifies the process for you. Here, you will garner a deeper insight into a natural way to burn fat without such hardship. In fact, the system provided herein will allow you to use your body's metabolism process to your advantage. All you need to do is eat the right foods at the right time. Why is fat loss important to you? Admittedly, there must be a good reason why you are looking for ways to burn fat and lose weight. Maybe you're looking to tone down and get into shape. It could be that you're motivated by health issues, or that you want to improve your overall health. Whatever reasons you might have, these reasons should be convincing enough. Of course, you need some motivation to ensure that you don't give up on your goal to lose weight. Your reasons should remind you of the importance of staying on track even when things seem overwhelming. We all know how it feels to try to lose weight only for the numbers on the scale to increase. It's frustrating. But when you're looking at the bigger picture, you will want to lose weight for all the right reasons. The best part is that you will be more patient for the results to manifest. Losing weight is not easy. That's a fact. But it doesn't mean that you struggle to lose weight because you're lazy. You might be Googling around for an ideal solution because you've tried your best and nothing works. With the help of this comprehensive guide, you will understand what you need to do to burn more fat and lose weight. Keep in mind that the recommendations provided will not only ensure that you lose weight, but that you will also keep it off in the long run. As you go through this book, we encourage you to forget what you've heard about losing weight. The wide array of information made available all over the internet is nothing but misleading. Say goodbye to calorie counting, diet restrictions, and all sorts of grueling workouts that you were promised would help you trim down. In this guide, you will find the one-time solution you've been looking for. Psychologically, you should also fathom that weight loss starts in the mind. It's not all about the belly. The mind also plays a vital role. Consequently, it's necessary that you prepare yourself mentally for the challenge. If you don't believe that you can burn fat and lose weight, how do you expect the mind and the body to work towards achieving your goal? You need to change how your subconscious mind operates to ensure that it supports your conscious goals. Accordingly, the first step you should take is to walk into self-acceptance. Listen to your self-talk and stop body-shaming yourself. You're beautiful, both inside and outside. Apart from losing weight, think of the bigger goal that you want to accomplish. Think of your family, and the number one reason why you want to prioritize your health and physical well-being. More importantly, meditate and set sustainable goals. More about this will be detailed in this manual. Now, get off the scale and let's find out how you can burn fat effortlessly. Are you ready? Let's begin. Chapter 1. What is body fat? We live in a weight-obsessed culture that often disparages the fat in our bodies as well as the ones we find in different food sources. Scientifically, body fat is termed as adipose tissue. This tissue is a specialized organ that is incredibly important for the optimal living of any human being and their longevity. Body fat has numerous functions in the body. Some of these functions include cushioning important organs, like the kidneys, and insulating the body against colder conditions. When body fat is evenly distributed throughout the body, it gives us a beautiful and healthy look. But critically, fat is important, as it is the body's fuel tank. It sits as a calorie reserve to help protect the body against starvation. Most people will want to avoid eating fat because of the negative perceptions surrounding it and its role in one's weight loss journey. People think that eating more fat makes one overweight or obese. In fact, some think that the fat they eat is what is usually converted and deposited as fat in the body. This is far from the truth. When people talk about losing weight, what they really mean is that they need to get rid of some of the excess body fat. It is by burning more fat that we can trim down our waistlines. For most people, they have been bombarded with all sorts of information about losing weight. Mainstream media is constantly informing us of the right and wrong paths to follow when attempting to efficiently lose weight. But it's important to first learn about how food is converted into fat before anything else. This might help you become more aware of how your body uses food for energy. How food is converted to fat. One of the most important things you should realize is that fat is not stored as fat in the body. Rather, sugar is what gets stored as fat. Carbohydrates consumed are normally broken down by the body into sugar molecules, more scientifically termed as glucose. These molecules travel around the body through the blood. Hence, the sugar molecules are commonly known as blood sugar. What this means is that every apple, candy bar, slice of bread, and sweet potato you eat gets converted to blood sugar. There are two ways in which carbs are converted into fat. The direct process is called de novo lipogenesis. Basically, this is where glucose is converted into lipids, which are directly stored as body fat. The direct conversion of carbs to lipids is normally inefficient, which means that carbs can be stored as fat to extreme levels. The process can also be enhanced if there is a high carb intake, or if that dietary fat was not included in the diet. Similarly, the same can happen if one sticks to an obesogenic diet for a prolonged period of time. Carbohydrates can also be converted into fat through an indirect process. Usually carbs spike the insulin levels in our bodies. It's worth noting that insulin is neither good nor bad. Rather, it should be seen as a lever that ignites the body to either burn fat or to burn carbs for fuel. When the body burns carbohydrates for fuel, it means that there is a smaller opportunity for the body to lose fat. The body's metabolic rate does not change significantly. Rather, the only thing that changes is the sources of the calories consumed. High levels of insulin in the presence of dietary fat will make the body not burn fat and will store it instead. This happens because glucose from glycogen is used for energy in place of dietary fat. Generally, insulin spikes hinder fat loss by a great margin. Patel, 2013. Just to make sure that we are on the same page, insulin is the hormone secreted anytime you eat sugar. This hormone tells sugar where it should go. Some of the sugars you consume are directly used for energy. Insulin tells other sugars to be stored in your muscles and the liver in the form of glycogen. This is meant for later use since the body doesn't require it. When you're working tirelessly in the gym, the body uses glycogen to push through more reps. During this time, your cells need more fuel. However, when glycogen storage points are full, the excess is what is stored as fat. Types of body fat. Despite what people understand when they think of body fat, there are different forms of it. Some have positive effects, while others often contribute to the development of certain lifestyle-related diseases. The types of fat cells that will be described here include white, brown, and beige cells. White fat. White fat is the most common type of body fat that the majority of people think of when we talk about body fat. This type of fat is composed of large white cells deposited under the skin or in the belly around body organs, thighs, arms, and buttocks. The body stores this type of fat to use as energy when the alternative sources have been depleted. White fat is also important in ensuring that other hormones function optimally, including insulin, estrogen, cortisol, growth hormone, and leptin. Dix, 2019. Some amount of white fat is good for the body. However, there are health risks that you might face when this type of fat is stored in excess. Healthy body fat percentages will vary depending on your level of physical activity or your fitness. The American Council on Exercise notes that non-athlete men should have a total body fat percentage ranging between 14 and 24%. On the other hand, non-athlete women should range between 21% and 31%. A higher body fat percentage than the recommended levels puts one at risk of developing diseases such as stroke, high blood pressure, type 2 diabetes, kidney disease, cancer, liver disease, and coronary artery disease. Dix, 2019. Brown fat. Brown fat is usually found in babies. However, adults also retain some of this fat, especially around the shoulders and neck. This form of fat burns fatty acids to keep the body warm. Beige fat. Beige fat is slightly new in the field of research and functions similarly to both the white and brown fat cells. Like brown fat, beige fat cells also help in burning fat instead of storing it. Research indicates that there are specific enzymes and hormones released when you're stressed or when you exercise, and they can help turn white fat into beige fat. Advances in research in this area can potentially help find a solution that will prevent obesity. Essential fat. Essential fat is important for the optimal functioning of your body. It is found in your bone marrow, nerves, brain, and membranes protecting your organs. Some of the functions of essential fat include vitamin absorption, temperature regulation, and fertility control. The American Council on Exercise notes that women need about 10 to 13% of their body composition to comprise essential fat. Men require a lower percentage of at least 2 to 5%. Dix, 2019. This is the good fat. Consequently, you shouldn't necessarily target it if you're looking to lose weight. Subcutaneous fat. This type of fat is found under the skin. It accounts for about 90% of your overall body fat composition. Often, this fat stubbornly accumulates itself around the belly in both men and women. Subcutaneous fat plays an important role in the hormone estrogen. Since estrogen is crucial in female fertility, women have a higher percentage of subcutaneous fat. While subcutaneous fat is important for the body, too much of it could lead to different health risks. This type of fat is the most challenging to target because most of it is stored by the body for emergency purposes in case of caloric deprivation or starvation. But there are effective ways of targeting this fat that will be discussed later in this guide. Visceral fat. Visceral fat is found around the belly. It secretes and accumulates retinol-binding protein 4, a common culprit that leads to insulin resistance. High levels of this fat increases the risk for dementia, stroke, breast cancers, Alzheimer's disease, and artery disease. Venus Treatments, 2018. Benefits of good body composition. Good body composition comes down to the idea of toning down the amount of fat we're carrying around, especially belly fat. The more fat you lose while gaining more muscle, the healthier you will look. Arguably, this will also have a positive impact on your overall well-being. Some of the benefits of good body composition include decreased risk of hypertension, type 2 diabetes, and heart disease. Increased body functional ability, allowing you to move freely, hence burning more calories. Improved calorie burning mechanism, a toned and lean body, enhanced success at sustainable weight loss. Rewire your body to burn fat. The statistics indicated at the beginning of this guide prove the fact that millions of Americans struggle to lose weight. People no longer enjoy the physical activities they once used to because of their increasing weight issues. Going for a swim can leave you feeling terrible about how you look. The fad diets you may have turned to may have made things even worse because you no longer enjoy the foods you eat. Consequently, the struggle to lose weight can suck the life out of you. Most people go throughout the day hating themselves. Besides not being happy with how they look, they are also not happy with how they feel about their bodies. The worst feeling is when you convince yourself that there is nothing you can do about your weight, so you give up and live a sad life. Some of the common issues that affect people in their weight loss campaigns include metabolic syndrome and insulin resistance. The way your body functions can easily make your weight loss goal a challenge that seems unattainable to overcome. Understanding metabolic syndrome. Metabolic syndrome is also called Syndrome X or METS, though this condition is not a disease in itself. Rather, it's a name given to a collection of risk factors that happen together. One can be said to suffer from metabolic syndrome when they are diagnosed with high blood triglycerides, hypertension, central obesity, low levels of good cholesterol, and impaired fasting glucose or diabetes. Burke, 2017. When one is suffering from metabolic syndrome, the body enters into a state where it stores food as fat instead of using it for energy. Sugars and carbohydrates are the most problematic foods for people with metabolic syndrome since they lack enough enzymes to metabolize these foods. Individuals who are active and suffer from metabolic syndrome aren't immune to the fat storage problem. This happens because metabolic syndrome is associated with insulin resistance. The insulin hormone functions to transport glucose to body cells and be used as energy. When insulin resistance becomes a problem, the hormone can't open the door for glucose to enter cells and muscles to be used up. Therefore, the sugar that is not used up is stored as fat. Maybe you're thinking that's impossible for you to burn the fat already stored in your body. Well, a change of diet, eating times, and regular exercise can turn your body into a fat-burning machine. For instance, eating the right carbohydrates at the right time can help ignite the body to burn fat instead of storing it. Fasting is also a great way of ensuring that your body doesn't burn glycogen for energy. Instead, it turns the fat reserves to acquire the energy it needs to maintain the normal functioning of the body. To rewire your body to burn more fat, it means you should do your best to eliminate the common culprits that usually lead to more fat getting stored. Sugar, for example, is found in almost all of the foods we eat. Sugar alters our hormones and neurotransmitters and ultimately changes our brains, rewiring them to ensure we continue eating even when we don't need to do so. Sugar-laden foods are highly addictive. The thought of grabbing a bar of chocolate feels more rewarding compared to eating a bowl of fresh salad. Rewiring your brain to ensure that more fat is used up and less is stored demands that you should make the right food choices, so start by eliminating sugar. It's also crucial that you should stay consistent with the fat loss strategy that you will be using. You can't expect to burn fat if you eat the right foods for a week, only to resort back to your poor eating habits. You need to stay committed to your goal of losing weight. This means eating the right foods every day and ensuring that you stay active. Chapter 2. Gut Check. The body has millions, if not trillions, of bacteria. Most of these bacteria are found in the intestines. Gut bacteria plays a vital role in your health, such as producing important vitamins and ensuring that there is effective communication within the immune system. What's more, gut bacteria also has an impact on how foods are digested to further produce vital chemicals in the body that signal that you're full. This means that gut bacteria also has an effect on your weight. Learning more about your gut health can help you know how to best manage your weight. It's very frustrating to watch the people around you eating whatever they feel like without ever struggling to lose weight. They are always physically fit, without necessarily limiting themselves from eating certain foods. Their metabolic powers might not be the only reason why they have good health. Body weight and gut bacteria are closely tied together in numerous ways. This chapter will help you understand the importance of taking time to check your gut health. What is gut bacteria? For years, people have grown accustomed to the idea that bacteria is something that we must avoid. It turns out, however, that our bodies have trillions of bacteria. These bacteria help ensure that our bodies function optimally. Research indicates that bacteria is also associated with the probability of developing health issues such as obesity, diabetes, colon cancer, and even depression. Khatri, 2020. Your gut is composed of over 400 different types of bacteria that have millions of genes. When put together with other tiny organisms like fungi and viruses, they make up the microbiota. In the same way you have a unique fingerprint compared to other people, you also have a unique microbiota. Partly, your microbiota is determined by your mother's microbiota, and other effects are from your diet and lifestyle. While bacteria is present throughout your body, the ones in your gut have the greatest impact on your overall well-being. These bacteria line the entire digestive system, with most of them living in the intestines and colon. You should understand that gut bacteria affect almost everything, from your moods to your metabolism and to your immune system. Perhaps this is the main reason you often come across the phrase, "You are what you eat." Gut bacteria and weight loss. Since your gut health has a huge impact on your overall well-being, it means that maintaining a good body shape and keeping off the weight depends on your gut bacteria. Your large intestine is a home for trillions of highly beneficial microbes that make up the whole family of microbiota. Basically, your gut bacteria is involved in important body functions, such as hunger, metabolism, and digestion. Recent studies indicate that Christensenella bacteria in your gut is linked to being slim, and having less amounts of the bacteria is associated with being overweight and obese. Bio 2019. Nonetheless, your level of this type of bacteria depends on your genetics. The good news is that we can alter the level of Christensenella bacteria to help us achieve our weight loss goals. There are many other gut bacteria that could affect your weight loss campaign, though. A diverse mixture of these gut microbes appear to be the main secret behind burning fat and ultimately losing weight. Akkermansia muciniphila is another important bacteria that can impact your weight loss. Akkermansia works by feeding on the mucus lining your gut, and thus helps in enhancing its production. This helps to strengthen the intestinal barrier. Research shows that a weaker gut lining is evident in people struggling with overweight and obesity issues. The microbes are also known to produce acetate, a type of fatty acid that regulates appetite and stores fat. Edermanager 2020. To help increase the levels of Akkermansia bacteria, you will need to consider eating more prebiotic foods that enhance their activities. Doing so will protect you against obesity. Some of these foods include fish oil, black tea, cranberries, flax seeds, rhubarb extract, and Concord grapes. Christensenella microbe is also linked to weight control, and scientists have found high levels of the same in lean people. Increasing the levels of this microbe can, therefore, help in fighting obesity. This microbe is more genetic. There is a high chance that you might have it if your family members have more of the microbe, but there is nothing wrong with you if you don't have it. Taking a microbe test is the only accurate way of establishing the type of gut bacteria you have. Hunger is also influenced by your gut bacteria. Helicobacter pylori is a key microbe that seems to help you control your hunger pangs. The presence of this microbe influences the production of the ghrelin hormone. Your body tells you to eat breakfast in the morning because there are high levels of ghrelin. Conversely, you will stop eating after the ghrelin levels fall. Nevertheless, if you don't have the Helicobacter microbe, you might continue eating. Gut bacteria and antibiotics. You might assume that the best way to revamp the effects of your gut bacteria is by taking antibiotics. However, this is not necessarily the case. In fact, the over-reliance on antibiotics by the food industry to keep their livestock healthy could be the number one reason why there are rising obesity issues today. The issue here is that the use of these antibiotics might lead to an overall disruption in the natural ecosystem within your body, according to some experts. An interesting revelation is that countries with high numbers of animal feeding operations are homes to individuals with high obesity rates. Bio 2019. It's also worth mentioning that there are instances where antibiotics are used for no specific reason. For instance, doctors might prescribe them to help treat viral infections just because patients demand them. The exact effect of antibiotics on human health is still under research. However, based on laboratory tests, the connection between gut bacteria and weight loss is clear. Mice on a high-fat diet easily get fat, and mice on antibiotics also get fat. A high-fat and antibiotics test on the mice proves that they get very fat. Bile 2019. In situations where your gut bacteria is influenced by your genetics, dietary habits and lifestyle can have a profound effect on your mix of harmful and beneficial microbes in your system. So while you might think that consuming antibiotics is a good thing, it's not always the case. Antibiotics affect the normal working of microbial communities in your gut. It does this by slowing and preventing bacterial growth, and in extreme cases, killing them. Interestingly, the connection between weight gain and antibiotics is not new. It's evident in agriculture that animals meant for meat consumption are offered low doses of antibiotics. As noted previously, the same case applies in laboratory experiments. With these findings, scientists can make reasonable conclusions concerning the correlation between overweight issues and the usage of antibiotics. Tips to keep your gut healthy. Eat more fiber. Your gut bacteria can easily be improved by upping your fiber intake. Fiber helps to nourish the microbes in your gut. This diversifies them and further increases the likelihood of maintaining a healthy weight. You might think that the quickest way to get your fiber is in processed foods. The problem with these foods is that they have added sugar in them. So settle for veggies and fruits and whole grains. 2 to 3 servings for each food type will do, and will nourish you with the required amounts of fiber. You should note that consuming too much fiber can lead to digestive issues, intestinal blockages, and gas. Luckily, it's hard to consume too much fiber, especially now that people do not always get enough. Gradually increasing your fiber intake can ensure you avoid some of these digestive issues. Fiber-rich foods to consume include onions, raspberries, beans, asparagus, garlic, bananas, pears, and watermelon. Snack smarter. Your body's health is largely determined by what you eat. This means that you should be careful to eat healthy, nutritious foods. Doing so guarantees that you maintain your gut flora in the best way possible. Gut bacteria requires complex carbs, such as whole grains and legumes, in order to function at their best. So getting your calories from sweets and other sugar-laden foods will not help improve your gut health. This only leaves microbes starving for the right food sources. The microbes might also adapt by feeding on the mucus lining your intestine. Experts hypothesize that this might lead to low-level inflammation, a condition that is likely to lead to obesity. Instead of grabbing a cookie during the afternoon, reach for an apple and nuts. These foods will not only improve your gut health, but they will also help keep you satiated. It's also important to check labels to ensure that there are no hidden sugars in the foods you eat. If you love eating rice, settle for whole grain pasta and brown rice over white. Choose probiotic foods. Probiotics are naturally present in your gut. However, you can increase the population of this flora by eating more of the foods that contain probiotics. Among many other benefits you will gain, you're likely to slim down. One recent study conducted on women who increased their probiotic uptake lost twice as much weight in 3 months compared to those who received a placebo. Fowler, 2014. The best place to start with your probiotics is yogurt. In other words, try to up your intake of fermented foods like sauerkraut, miso, and kefir. Studies indicate that yogurt correlates with weight loss. Usually, the making of yogurt requires adding these probiotics to milk. The scientific reasoning behind how probiotics influence body weight aren't well understood. However, research indicates that probiotics influence the body's energy usage and appetite through the production of propionate, acetate, and butyrate, which are forms of short-chain fatty acids. Some studies also indicate that various types of probiotics might restrict dietary fat absorption, which increases fat released with feces. Put it simply, probiotics help the body to harness fewer calories from foods consumed. Palsdottir 2020. Probiotics also help in preventing obesity by secreting appetite-regulating hormones, such as peptide YY and glucagon-like peptide. They also fight obesity by boosting the level of fat-regulating proteins. This helps lower the amount of fat stored. Palsdottir 2020. Nevertheless, more research is required to fully comprehend how these mechanisms work. Move your body. Your gut bacteria will also benefit from a dedicated workout regimen. Exercising when you have a normal BMI will ensure that you have more diverse microbes in your system compared to individuals with higher BMI, according to an Irish study conducted on male rugby players. It was evident that there was an increase in Akkermansia bacteria in men who exercised frequently. This bacteria can help in protecting individuals against obesity. So, do consider incorporating exercise in your weight loss journey, as it helps enhance your gut health. Learn to manage stress. Stress has a negative impact on different aspects of your health, including your mental, physical, and even your gut health. Microbes not only affect your intestines, but they also affect other important organs, like the brain. So if you're struggling with stress, it means your microbes are also going through the same. This can even lower the population of vital probiotic bacteria such as lactobacillus. Do your best to manage stress. Exercise regularly and ensure you master how to incorporate meditation exercises in your everyday routine. This will help you silence the mental chatter inside you. Over time, you will then be able to calm your mind, even in the most challenging situations. Eat less sugar. Sugar is all around us. It might sound difficult to avoid sugar because it's included in most of the ingredients we use to prepare food, such as that of fructose and glucose, which have become increasingly difficult to stay away from. Too much of this can increase the risk of diabetes, heart disease, obesity, and other forms of lifestyle-related diseases. Excess sugar also disturbs the gut microbiota. To ensure you limit your sugar intake, consider eliminating or limiting your intake of processed foods, soft drinks, restaurant foods, and takeaways. Eat consciously by working to ensure that you limit or avoid these foods from your diet. Get enough sleep. The circadian rhythm, or your internal biological clock, is normally influenced by what you eat. This internal time has an impact on vital body functions, like sleep and digestion. When the body is functioning optimally, the gut microbes ensure we stick to a certain schedule. However, if you're not getting enough sleep, it may have a negative impact on your microbiome and digestion. A lack of sleep is often associated with unhealthy eating habits and a poor lifestyle. For instance, increased alcohol consumption, poor diet, and a sedentary lifestyle will easily lead to weight gain. Hence, getting enough sleep is good for your brain. If your brain is happy, a similar effect will be evident in your microbes. Hence, this will positively impact your weight loss goal. Generally, you should never underestimate the benefits of a healthy gut. You are what you eat. This means that by ensuring your gut health is in check, you can be certain that your body will perform optimally. In terms of burning more fat, your body can easily be converted into a fat-burning machine by improving your gut health. What you need to do is gradually change your lifestyle. Make dietary changes that will also guarantee that you boost the population of the microbes in your system. Eat the right foods while doing your best to ensure you keep off unhealthy food options. It's that simple. Chapter 3. Fasting is not fad. The thought of fasting sounds scary. From the sound of it, you might think that you will be starving yourself of all food. But it should be noted that there is a huge difference between fasting and starving. People fast for different reasons. Most people fast for spiritual reasons, whereas others fast to lose weight. There has been a growing trend surrounding intermittent fasting and other forms of fasting techniques meant to shed extra pounds. So fasting to lose weight is not a new thing to most people. The only issue is that most people are not aware of the best techniques to use while fasting for weight-related purposes. Additionally, some don't understand the science behind why fasting is an effective strategy towards sustainable weight loss. This chapter will help you understand what you need to know about fasting, and why it will not only help you lose weight, but keep it off in the long run. The science of fasting. From a medical standpoint, most diseases are caused by body fat. With the current lifestyle trends, we all know that being overweight increases the risk for stroke, heart disease, and some types of cancer. Apart from the fat paradigms that we have developed around being fat, most people are afraid of getting fat due to health risks associated with being overweight. Losing the extra pounds has positive impacts on your body. For instance, it helps increase the level of good cholesterol while at the same time reducing the levels of the bad cholesterol. As a result, this helps lower the risk of lifestyle-related diseases. It's no secret that being overweight and obese raises blood pressure, disrupts sleep, causes liver disease, aggravates arthritis, and more. Type 2 diabetes is often associated with weight gain and excess body fat. Studies indicate that being obese increases the risk of developing type 2 diabetes. When suffering from this condition, the body makes sufficient insulin, but cells are resistant to allow insulin to transport sugar into the required areas. This means that there is more sugar left within the bloodstream, a condition that leads to increased blood pressure and other diseases. Gordon, 2020. We've all heard at some point that type 2 diabetes can potentially lead to blindness and limb amputation. In both cases, losing weight is one of the most effective ways of preventing these adverse effects from happening. This might also lead to a considerable change in the quality of life. Your health is your wealth, so it goes without saying that losing weight can indeed bring happiness into your life. It's interesting to learn that there are individuals who might be overweight and metabolically unhealthy, while some might be overweight and metabolically healthy. This is where fasting comes in. Fasting has a significant impact on your metabolic syndrome. Templeton, 2019. Keep in mind that metabolic syndrome is an umbrella term used here to refer to the different risk factors for serious health conditions, such as heart disease, stroke, and diabetes. Of course, you might be curious to know how skipping certain meals during the day might have a huge impact on your weight loss goal. Believe it or not, even skipping one meal a day can lead to considerable changes in your weight loss campaign. Fasting can change your life, and the best thing about fasting is that it is not like the fad diets you may have tried before. Welcoming the idea of fasting is not easy. The thought of skipping a few meals during the day could easily make you feel anxious. But by understanding the science of fasting and how it can help you lose weight and improve your health, you will be better placed to make informed choices. Hormones, digestion, and how food is used for energy. The moment food enters your mouth, the body starts turning this food into cellular energy. Well, of course, this isn't as straightforward as you might be thinking, as there are many chemical reactions that take place to give your body the energy it requires. Eating the wrong foods affects how the body performs. The endocrine system is composed of a group of glands that produce hormones which regulate growth, metabolism, tissue function, reproduction, sexual function, mood, and sleep, among a plethora of other vital functions. Some of the glands in the endocrine system include the thyroid gland, pituitary gland, adrenal glands, and parathyroid glands, among other components. Zimmerman, 2018. The pancreas is part of the endocrine system, and it sits horizontally behind the stomach. After eating, it secretes insulin, which signals to the rest of the body that the food is available. The food's energy in the form of calories should also be stored away for future purposes. Food energy is stored in the body in two distinct ways, as body fat and as sugar. Energy stored in the form of sugar is readily available. On the other hand, fat is stored in the reserves for later use. The body turns to the fat stores when sugar is not readily available. The easiest way to spike your glucose or blood sugar levels is by eating carbs. Essentially, these are chains of sugars. Some of the sugars from carbs are used by cells in the liver, kidneys, brain, and other parts of the body. Now, when there are leftover carbs, they are stored as glycogen in the liver. Glycogen is also another chain of sugar. Food energy is also stored in the form of body fat. Fat can be obtained from a diverse range of plant and animal foods. Triglycerides from these fat food sources are absorbed directly into the bloodstream. It's worth noting that the body has a limit to the amount of glucose it can store in the liver. This means that the excess has to be converted into triglycerides, which then feeds fat cells. The systems of energy storage that take place in the body are complementary. As noted above, glycogen is easy for the liver to use up. The only issue is that the liver has a limited storage space. Conversely, body fat is difficult to access and also strenuous for the liver to break down. The only advantage with body fat is that it has a huge storage space. The fat deposits around your belly are ideal storage spaces for excess fat. To understand this further, let's look at how insulin leads to the development of diabetes. Insulin and diabetes. Insulin is an important hormone that communicates to the rest of the body about the availability of food and signals the digestive system to convert food into energy. This hormone also regulates your blood's glucose levels by ensuring that they don't spike or fall too low. The regulation of blood sugar levels is made possible as insulin helps in extracting glucose from the blood and goes on to store it as glycogen in the liver, or as fat. Since body fat is integral for warmth, protection, and as an energy source during starvation, insulin stops us from using all of the fat reserves as the main energy source. When insulin levels are beyond the normal variation, the body will store more food energy in the form of glycogen and body fat. Problems ensue when the pancreas secretes excess insulin. This happens in situations where you consume foods that stimulate more insulin production. For instance, refined carbs are more effective in stimulating such substance. Over time, if you consume more of these refined carbs, as is the case with most typical diets today, where individuals snack on meals heavy on carbs, your insulin levels will definitely spike. The signal the body gets is that it should continue storing more food energy. This means that the body will not turn to your fat stores for energy because there is a different communication coming its way. Instead of using some of the fat your body has already stored, you will continue restocking more and more fat. With time, this leads to weight gain. Ultimately, when excess insulin floods your system, cells in the pancreas become unresponsive, and this leads to an increase in your blood sugar levels. If these levels stay high, you will be one among the millions of people in the world struggling with type 2 diabetes. Fasting and hormones. Contrary to what you might be thinking about fasting being a diet, it's much more than that, and works quite effectively at regulating your hormones. It also resets your body's metabolism to ensure that you burn the required amount of energy to stay alive. When you choose not to eat, automatically your insulin levels drop. This sends signals to the body that food is no longer available. To survive, the body adjusts and turns to the energy reserves. It starts with glycogen, and when this is used up, it turns to fat. This is one of the main reasons why you don't get hungry easily after sleeping for 12 hours or more. It's also through this mechanism that we can go without food for days. It sounds crazy, but it's true. Therefore, what this means is that the most reliable way of keeping our blood sugar levels in check is by fasting. The best aspect of this method is that doing this helps the body to burn more fat from the energy stores. By choosing to fast, we tell the body to access fat storage and use it for energy. If you keep doing this more frequently, you're likely to lose weight. Fasting and metabolism. You may have assumed that fasting kills metabolism. Metabolism is also termed as the basal metabolic rate, BMR, and refers to the process whereby the body converts food into energy. This is a complex process where food is combined with oxygen to release the food energy the body requires to perform its everyday activities. Consequently, a higher metabolism means that the body burns energy efficiently, and this will have an impact on your weight. Chances are that you will lose weight with ease. In contrast, a lower metabolic rate will mean that you will struggle with weight loss. The body's BMR rate is not fixed. The rate can increase or decrease depending on your level of physical activity, your diet, body temperature, and age. However, it should be noted that insulin is a major determinant of BMR. The body can only exist in the fed state or the fasted state. The former occurs when you've eaten something, and the latter is when you have not taken anything. After eating, your insulin levels shoot, and the body will be signaled to either reserve food energy as sugar or fat. When you've not eaten anything, insulin levels are low, and the body will be signaled to burn the food energy already stored. In terms of calories, it means that the body is either burning or storing calories, but not the same processes at the same time. So by constantly eating throughout the day, the body stays in a fed state, and more food energy is stored instead of being used up, which means there are fewer calories getting burned for energy, and this signals the body to slow down its BMR. Assume you're consuming 1,200 calories daily and expelling 1,200 calories at the end of the day. This means you're not losing or gaining body fat. You now lower your caloric intake as per the recommendations you get from different online sources to 1,000 calories. Insulin levels will remain high, but the amount of calories will drop. This leads to a situation where the body will not burn body fat as insulin levels are still high, and that the body is in the fed state. Now that there are only 1,000 calories coming in, the body will automatically lower its calorie expenditure to 1,000 calories. The body will not be able to make up for the deficit as insulin levels are high, and this turns the body into a fat storage system. This is one secret that most low-fat diets fail to tell you. At first, you might think that you're losing weight, but the moment your BMR drops, you enter into a plateau before regaining all the weight you initially lost. So, what happens to your BMR during fasting? It increases the body's BMR. It might sound strange, but it is true that your metabolic rate increases when you fast. When you don't eat, insulin levels drop, signaling the body to turn to your fat stores. Consider this a way of surviving, given that there is no food available to burn for energy. In other words, your body switches from using food for energy and uses the stored food in the form of body fat. You will be more energized and refreshed as there is more fuel made available for the body to effortlessly continue with its normal functioning. Focus increases, concentration increases, and so does your BMR rate. So one of the main secrets to losing weight naturally is by fasting. That said, the notion of counting the number of calories you consume and those you expel is irrelevant. Calories in, calories out equation doesn't help in any way here. Why? Because you might control the number of calories you take in, but you can't accurately determine the calories you will expel. To provide the body with the required amount of energy, you need to control your hunger and improve your BMR. This means eating satiating foods that keep our insulin levels low. Chapter 4. Food is complicated, so keep it simple. The internet provides us with a diverse degree of information regarding what we should and shouldn't eat. With everything going on, from balancing elements like jobs, family life, and personal time, it's easy to get lost on how you should simplify your shopping carts. From afar, healthy living is something that appears simple. After all, you only need to eat a balanced diet, skip the drive-thru, and get enough sleep. However, things get complicated the more you search for information about what you should be eating to maintain optimal health. You might feel good at the start of your weight loss journey because it's easy to make the right decisions at first. But when things get complicated, you might get lost and inevitably decide to give up on your mission. A healthy way of life should be worth enjoying, not stressful. Healthy eating doesn't have to be something that takes a huge toll on you. In fact, it should be something that you seamlessly ease into without it causing too much of a fuss. For most people, the first thing they do when things start to feel overwhelming is to blame themselves. You may start browsing through social media pages, thinking to yourself that your life is not close to others' presentations of healthy living. Comparing yourself to your friends might even make things worse, as they might be eating whatever they like while still lacking any pressing weight issues. This chapter highlights some crucial things you should do to ensure that you don't stress yourself out too much while trying to adopt a healthy lifestyle. As you go through this chapter, take time to reevaluate how you eat, why you eat, and what you eat. Making conscious choices is the first step towards simplifying your healthy lifestyle. Factors influencing food choices. When you stop to think about burning fat to ensure you lose weight, it means you will be mulling over making dietary changes. To effectively make good food choices, it's important to understand some of the determinants affecting them. The following are the common determinants that influence how you settle for certain foods. Biological determinants of food choice: hunger and satiety. Food is a basic human need. We all need energy and nutrients to survive. Therefore, we tend to respond to the demands of hunger and satiety between two eating instances. The foods we eat, such as carbs, fats, and proteins, send signals to the central nervous system about our levels of satiety and hunger. Proteins are the most satiating foods, while fats and carbs are least satiating. You should realize that sugar-laden foods don't make you fuller for longer. They are only addictive and influence you to overconsume. This happens where excess energy is consumed unintentionally. One vital satiety signal is the portions of food you choose to indulge in. Most people simply eat without taking time to measure the right portions. This also contributes to the ingestion of excess energy that the body doesn't need. The excess is what is stored either as glycogen or body fat, as we had discussed in Chapter 3. Palatability. Palatability refers to the amount of pleasure one gains after consuming certain foods. This depends on sensory properties of food like smell, texture, appearance, and taste. We can't deny that good-looking foods are quite appetizing. The aroma of food can easily lure you to eat more and more of it. Consequently, it's not surprising that food is not just consumed for the nourishment it offers, but because of the pleasure value it provides. That said, when palatability increases, food intake also increases. The increase in the variety of food to eat can also enhance food intake. Sensory aspects. Taste is one of the main influences that has an impact on our food behavior. Generally, taste brings together all the sensory stimulation that comes from eating or ingesting a certain type of food. Besides taste, the smell, texture, and appearance also contribute towards sensory stimulation. Economic determinants of food choice. Cost and accessibility. The hard-hitting economy can indeed influence your food choices. Low-income populations are less likely to consume a balanced diet as compared to high-income individuals. Nevertheless, this doesn't mean that more money automatically means that individuals will settle for better quality of diets. Accessibility of stores to purchase different food varieties will have an impact on the foods you will buy. We all know how lazy we can get when we think of driving long distances only to buy what we need for lunch, dinner, or breakfast. Convenience matters a great deal. Buying healthy foods in bulk will help create the convenience you need to ensure that you don't reach out for unhealthy snacks. Education and knowledge. Your level of education will also have an impact on your dietary behavior. What's more, good dietary habits and nutritional knowledge are strongly correlated. With the right information about improving your health, you're highly likely to make smart food choices. However, it's worth noting that knowledge regarding health doesn't necessarily mean that you will take action on your health. Most people know what they should do to live healthier and happier lives. However, they rarely take action on attaining their health goals. Social determinants of food choice. Social class. People's food choices are also formed and constrained by social and cultural circumstances. There are clear differences in the way people from varying social classes choose foods. Individuals from a higher social class are more likely to make informed food choices due to the flexibility they have at hand. Access to dietary information among these social classes also impacts their dietary decisions. Cultural influences. Culture shapes most of the decisions we make in our everyday lives. The habits we develop are often hinged on the cultures we've adopted throughout our lives. In most cases, our traditions restrict us from indulging in certain foods. For instance, some will exclude animal products, like milk and meat, from their diets. Fortunately, these cultural influences are subject to change. Moving from one country to another can lead to a huge cultural change in your food choices. Social context. Food is social. Sometimes we eat because we are in the company of our friends and relatives. When there is something to celebrate, food is there to save the situation. The same goes to other social contexts that we face. Even when we are mourning, food is always there to console us. Surrounding yourself with a supportive environment from friends and family will help you make smart food choices. You're more likely to eat right when people support you throughout your weight loss journey. Social setting. Apart from your social context, the social setting where you eat your meals will also influence you in one way or another. The fast-paced way of life has left people choosing to wine and dine in restaurants. People have come to think that they don't have time to prepare their meals at home, so going to fast food restaurants is their only feasible option. Foods prepared in these venues are less healthy and don't prioritize your health needs, despite the initial appeal. Some may be prepared with excess unhealthy oils, not to forget the fact that it might be served with large portions. Consuming more of these foods frequently will eventually affect your health and well-being. Psychological factors. Stress. Dealing with stress in today's world is more than just a norm. Undeniably, there's a lot to deal with, and this makes life unbearable. Stress will modify the behaviors that affect your health, like food choices, ability to engage in physical activity, and excessive consumption of alcohol. The effects resulting from stress are complex because people will go through different forms of stress. Hence, one type of stress can affect how a person chooses their meals, or lifestyle changes that will better their lives. Generally, some individuals overeat or undereat when going through challenging times. Mood. The healing power of food is unquestionable. Have you ever felt sad and the only thing you could think about was binging on some ice cream or a bowl of your favorite dish? Food can indeed change how we feel. Interestingly, this is dependent on the attitudes we have towards certain foods. We love eating specific dishes, but the thought of gaining weight is scary, and this prevents us from indulging in certain unhealthy foods. Dieters often struggle in making the right food choices because they feel guilty eating foods that they, quote, shouldn't be eating. Worse, attempts to limit the intake of unhealthy foods only increases the desire for these foods, and this is what we describe as food cravings. Mindful eating. The digital world has really changed how we do things, including how we eat. The concept of mindless eating is not something new to most of us. We often find ourselves eating in front of the TV, or while working on some project deadline. Most people also use their smartphones while eating or driving. Such mindless eating only leaves people to eat much more than they had originally planned to. You may notice that it took you a few minutes to finish an entire bag of chips. However, when you choose to eat mindfully, you develop a healthier relationship with food. You will want to eat the right food at the right time, and for the right reasons. Ultimately, you won't struggle with maintaining a healthy weight. Mindful eating can also help you overcome the hedonistic drive to indulge in food even when you're physically hungry. Usually, this is characterized by the feeling that you're not satisfied, or loss of control, or using food to keep yourself busy. Eliminating distractions when eating also ensures that you find more pleasure in the foods you consume. What is mindful eating? Mindful eating refers to the concept of raising your in the moment awareness of the foods you put into your mouth. This means taking the time to observe how the food affects how you feel and other signals that such food sends to the body, such as taste, fullness, and satisfaction. Mindful eating can also extend beyond your table manners to include the process of shopping for ingredients and serving food on your plate. For most people, the fast-paced way of life has driven people to rush through their meals. Instead of sitting down to enjoy a meal with family and friends, we multitask, thinking that it's the best way to keep up with looming deadlines and other social activities. It's even considered the norm to watch TV while eating. What we fail to realize is that these activities lead to mindless eating. You might be full after a meal, but you will continue shoveling food down because your mind is somewhere else, thinking of other things. While mindful eating requires that you bring your mind to the present moment, it's not about being perfect. It doesn't mean that you should not allow yourself to grab something on the go or eat junk on cheat days. Moreover, it doesn't delve around establishing strict rules around your diet. On the contrary, it's about bringing all your senses to the present moment when out shopping or when you're at home preparing your meals and serving them. One huge advantage of mindful eating is that it helps to prevent you from overeating. What's more, it's an ideal strategy that makes it easier for you to adopt healthier dietary changes that improve your overall health. Mindful eating versus dieting. Losing weight is always associated with willpower. Most people believe that if you lack the willpower, then it might be daunting for you to shed off the extra pounds you gained over the past few years. But this is not the case, especially if you're disciplined enough to silence your hunger pangs and cravings. If you do this for some time, you can be certain that you will lose weight. Unfortunately, conventional foods do not provide us with coping tools to ignore our cravings, and this is where mindful eating comes in handy. Mindful eating isn't about ignoring your cravings or judging food as whether it's good or bad. Sometimes we classify food as either good or bad depending on the food choices we decide to settle with. Mindful eating allows you to not feel ashamed eating the foods you like. To eat more mindfully, consider the following pointers. Assess your hunger. Hunger bullies us in many ways. Sometimes we think we're hungry, while in the real sense we're just bored. When you're busy working on something during lunchtime, it's easy to forget that you need to eat something. In fact, a handful of nuts and a glass of water will do. Before you know it, it's 5 p.m. If you were busy idling in the office, there's a good chance that you would be looking at the clock, waiting to clock out and head out for lunch. So, hunger is just a bully that you need to learn how to tame. More about this will be discussed in the next chapter. Slow down. What's the rush? Slow down and enjoy the meal you've been craving to have. Slower eating is linked to a number of health benefits, and one of them is weight loss. Maybe eating slowly isn't something you've been used to, and you could be wondering how best you can do this. Start by chewing every single bite you take. It might also help to put down the utensils you're using after every bite. This gives you time to chew before thinking of taking another bite. Consider serving yourself with smaller portions instead of one huge serving. Remember, a glass of water in between the bites will also help you slow down. Turn off electronic devices. Your meal times don't have to be the perfect time to catch up with your friends on social media. It's also not the right time to check your emails. After all, it only takes you 20 minutes to be full. So why don't you dedicate this time to just eating? Be in the moment and enjoy your meal you prepared or one that was prepared for you. Tune into cravings. It's normal to try and talk yourself out of the cravings that might be bothering you. You're trying to lose weight. and the last thing you want to think about is food. But it should be noted that the best way to deal with these cravings and gain control of your food demands is by listening to your body. Cravings are body sensations. The more you resist them, the stronger they get. Take time to evaluate what might be triggering these sensations. Consider whether this is something you really want or that your mind is simply playing tricks on you. Pause before getting seconds. It takes approximately 20 minutes before getting a signal from your gut that you're satisfied. In this small window feeding period, it's easy to find yourself overeating. Before going for the second round, give yourself a break. By waiting, you will give your gut an opportunity to process the food you've consumed. You will end up making the right choice as to whether going for seconds is something you need. Take a cup of tea. The urge to eat is just an urge and nothing more. In most cases, you're not hungry. The problem is that you've made it a ritual to indulge in something. So automatically you will want to eat something even when you're not actually hungry. Before rushing to prepare a quick meal for yourself, make yourself a cup of your favorite tea. Green or black tea can give you a boost of caffeine. On the contrary, unsweetened hibiscus or peppermint is an ideal option for a strong flavor. By the time you're done boiling water, the urge to eat something would have faded away. Eat with joy, not judgment. Eating with a goal to lose weight is somewhat challenging because you might be concerned all the time about what you eat. Of course, this will prevent you from enjoying your meals. Sure, it's good to raise your awareness of the nutritional value of the food you eat. However, if you're overly concerned with counting calories, you're likely to experience guilt and self-judgment. Instead of approaching meals with fear or dread that you might overeat, consider approaching with joy and excitement. Savor each healthy bite and enjoy it, and ensure you revel in the whole process of making smart choices that ensure you take good care of your body. By being more kind to yourself and eating mindfully, there is a good chance that you will honor your body and eat only until you're full. Rebuild your relationship with food. When you think of relationships, the first thing that comes to mind is the relationships you share with the people you care about. Undeniably, as social beings, the relationships we share with others do shape our lives and have an impact on your emotional well-being. Oftentimes, we strive to improve these relations to ensure we grow into better persons, but rarely do we take time to enhance our relationship with food. Cut yourself some slack if you feel your relationship with food might not be as admirable. You're not alone. With the many distractions that we have to deal with, sometimes we get lost and eat mindlessly. Often this leads to unhealthy eating that ultimately contributes to weight gain and other health issues. Before you rebuild your relationship with food, you should determine some of the signs and symptoms that indicate you have a bad relationship with food. One of these signs is feeling guilty about eating. If you often feel guilty after eating a certain meal, then this is a clear sign that your relationship with food needs some reworking. Additionally, the idea of labeling food as either good or bad for your health is another sign. People who have developed a long list of rules around the foods they can't eat should also think about making some improvements. These signs vary from one person to the other. Hence, it's crucial that you evaluate some of the signs that you portray. Create a vision of your future self. All healthy relationships call for self-evaluation. You must start by creating a vivid picture of what you really want to look like in the future. Similarly, consider how you would want your relationship with food to look like. Thinking about it this way, how would you feel nourished? How would you feel about yourself when you finally achieve your weight loss goal? What positive habits will you embody in the future? Make an appointment every day to connect with your vision. Keep in mind that your motivation lies in knowing that you can achieve your goal, irrespective of how you might be looking today. Connect with your higher self and always ask yourself, what would my ideal self do in this situation? Doing so will ensure you make conscious efforts to eat and live mindfully. Consider food as energy. Counting calories is perhaps the norm for most people, especially if they are looking to burn fat. Instead of enjoying their meals, dieters will want to know the amount of calories that they take in. It's worth noting that food is meant to replenish energy in your body, and not just to increase your caloric intake. Every bite you take has an impact on your energy levels, immune system, hormones, mood, and brain function. You should bear in mind that we all have a distinct macrobiotic population in our gut system. Therefore, what you consider as good for your health might not be good for your neighbor. Do your best to identify foods that give you the energy you need to go about your everyday activities. While doing this, be sure to also note the foods that take away energy from you. Of course, some foods can leave you feeling bloated, foggy, and tired. Empower yourself with food choices. With time, you will have a list of ideal foods that ensure you start your day on a positive note and end it well with some good night's sleep. It's all about choices, and you have the power over these choices, so make it count. Turn off autopilot. Avoid eating food mindlessly in an environment full of distraction. Raise your awareness to triggers that drive you to eat even when you're not hungry. Maybe you saw an advert on TV that you thought about reaching for a snack in the fridge. These nudges will only develop a habit that you will struggle to change. Every time you want to eat something, ask yourself, am I really hungry? Take a glass of water and give yourself time before preparing yourself a meal. If you are not hungry, you might stop thinking about the leftover food in the fridge. Seek excellence, not perfection. You don't have to be perfect with your food choices. Focus on making improvements every day. In fact, this is a recommended weight loss approach that guarantees that you lose sustainable weight. By looking for areas to improve, you will focus more on making smart, healthy choices that guarantee you eat right. Swap the unhealthy foods with healthier alternatives. Find a way of incorporating exercise into your weight loss routine. It doesn't have to be something strenuous. Even a walk to the park is just enough for the day. Consistent progress over time contributes to massive transformations. Identify food with no breaks. Food with no breaks are the foods that are easy to indulge in and drive relentless cravings. These are sugar-laden foods that are difficult to keep off. Chips, cookies, crackers, and sweets are examples of these foods. When you sit down to eat them, you might find it difficult to stop. You might try to eat one of these foods mindfully, but it's not as easy as you think. We all know how that one last bite is hard to avoid. Do your best to determine how some of these foods affect how you feel and how challenging it is for you to avoid them. The point here is that you should keep the foods with no breaks away from your sight. Out of sight, out of mind. This concept will help you deal with some of the unstoppable cravings associated with these foods. Indulge mindfully. Let's be honest. Despite your weight loss goals, there is no doubt that you will be indulging in certain foods from time to time. It's okay. You don't have to feel guilty or judge yourself for eating or overeating what you shouldn't be eating. When you choose to indulge, do it mindfully. Be in the moment and savor every bite. Signal your brain once you're full and the experience is over. With time, you will find it easier to gain control over your sensations and instead choose to drink a cup of coffee. In a word, what you eat and how you eat has a huge impact on your health. Since you're looking for a way to lose weight, it's vital that you start eating mindfully. Strive to improve your relationship with food. Don't just eat because it's lunchtime or dinner. Eat because your body needs energy to perform other important activities. If you're disciplined enough to eat the right foods mindfully, there is no doubt that you will see significant transformations in your overall health and well-being. Chapter 5. Taming the Hunger Bully. Believe it or not, hunger is a bully. Most people believe and assume that the only way of dealing with this bully is by feeding it. Typically, hunger will insist that you consume more unhealthy foods to keep you satisfied. Hunger is one of the main challenges that people struggle with, especially when they are looking to reduce weight or to improve their general health. While you might be aware of the right foods that you should be eating, if you can't manage hunger, you will find yourself overindulging, even in healthy foods. Such indulgences are not good, as it deters you from achieving your weight loss goal. To reduce and maintain a healthy weight, you need to tame the hunger bully. It's necessary that you take control and know when to provide your body with energy as opposed to falling prey to the hunger bully. One thing that should be made clear about hunger is that it is a temporary feeling. You don't have to give in to your hunger pangs. Do your best to listen to your body and determine whether you're truly hungry. With regards to the notion of fasting as a weight loss strategy, it's important to understand how best you can cope with hunger. This also guarantees that you can eat intentionally and achieve both the short and long-term health goals you have set for yourself. Hunger and hormones. One of the main concerns people have before fasting or taking on any weight loss program is how they will cope with hunger. You can't avoid getting hungry. In fact, expect to get hungry more than ever before because you will be making several dietary changes as you strive to lose weight. This means that you should have a plan to manage hunger and keep it off until your next meal. Typically, we eat because we're hungry. To stop hunger, you must learn how to manage your satiety hormones. These are hormones that send signals to the brain that you're full, and you no longer need to continue eating. The stomach also has stretch receptors. When these receptors are stretched beyond a certain point, communication is sent to the brain to stop eating. Human beings are not mindless beings. Consequently, we don't just eat food because food is presented to us. Every time you're hungry, chances are that you crave for the foods you love. In most cases, you tend to think that you can eat more of your favorite food. But after eating your favorite meal for some time, you're less likely to continue eating more of the same food. Cholecystokinin and peptide YY are two main hormones responsible for satiety. The former responds to dietary fat, while the latter responds to protein. Ghrelin hormone works differently as it increases appetite. You and Your Hormones 2020. Despite their efforts to lose weight, most people struggle in containing their hunger because they have been fooled to believe that weight loss management is all about calories. People have accepted the idea that they can easily lose weight by counting calories or consuming fewer calories than they burn. What's more, most weight loss diets advocate for diets heavy on carbs, the very foods that usually lead to hunger. Ever wondered why you get hungry even before 10 a.m. after eating 4 slices of bread for your breakfast? If you think about it closely, this meal has no impact on your satiety. While you might think that you're consuming fewer calories, the truth is that the meal doesn't control hunger. You haven't taken any proteins that will activate peptide YY hormone to help you feel satiated. Eating such foods only leaves you feeling hungry in no time because you haven't communicated to the gut not to be hungry. The worst might happen, as you would want to reach out for other carbs thinking that you will be full before lunch. Going for a low-fat muffin might not be the best way of controlling your hunger pangs. If this goes on throughout the day, you might find yourself eating up to 8 meals. Why? Because you're simply not controlling your hunger. You're only filling up with carbs and more carbs. These foods will continue making you hungrier for more food. Eventually, managing your weight becomes a nightmare because you assume that you can't control how you eat. You can tame your hunger. Snacking on a high-protein breakfast in the morning is the best way of starting your day. Bacon and eggs, for example, will fill you with fat and protein nutrients. Likely, you will not see the need to grab a snack by 10 a.m. A bigger challenge is experienced when people choose to go for processed foods and refined carbs. These foods spike your blood sugar levels. Signals sent to the pancreas will be to produce more insulin. Remember, the function of insulin is to communicate to the body to store food in the form of glycogen in the liver or as body fat. The spike in insulin worsens the situation as more food is stored instead of getting used up for energy. When this happens, the body will have less food for the metabolism process to take place. Important organs such as liver, the brain, and even your muscles will still need glucose for energy. This makes you hungry in no time. This is the worst form of domino effect that will leave you wondering why other people find it easy to lose weight while you're always struggling. Hunger and fasting. Let's look at how hunger is affected during fasting. People often assume that hunger can continue increasing until it's unbearable or unmanageable, but this is far from the truth. Once you're used to fasting, hunger actually decreases. It might sound surprising, but this is how the body works to ensure you get the energy you need while there is no food to burn for energy. The moment you start fasting, it takes some time before the body turns to the fat stores for energy. Instead of depending on the readily available blood glucose, the body will burn fat. The process where the body burns fat for energy is termed as ketosis. This is the foundation of ketogenic keto diets. Wartenberg, 2020. The primary goal of a keto diet is to turn your body into a fat-burning machine. When you're in ketosis state, the body has access to all the food energy it needs to function optimally. This is the main reason why your hunger will reduce when fasting. It's also important that you learn something about ghrelin hormone because it increases your appetite. To burn more fat and lose weight in the long run, reducing the ghrelin levels is imperative. How do you do this? Studies indicate that ghrelin levels are lowest at around 9 a.m., and the circadian rhythm also reveals that hunger is lowest during this time. The Fasting Method 2020. This is part of the main reason why you don't feel hungry right after waking up. Recall that it is during this time that you may have slept for 7 to 10 hours without eating. Again, this brings back the idea that hunger isn't the effect of going without food for hours. It also implies that eating doesn't make you less hungry. Your ghrelin levels are also high during lunch and dinner times. Our feeding times are an indication that hunger is a habit. This means that it can be learned and unlearned. People eat because it's lunch or dinner time. Our bodies are used to the timings that we have set for ourselves. So when it's around 1 p.m., you will start feeling hungry, not because your body needs energy, but because it's a habitual thing that you must fulfill. If you deny yourself food during lunch or dinner, it doesn't mean that the ghrelin levels will surge. In fact, the levels will reduce after going for about 2 hours without taking anything. Keep yourself busy for a few minutes, and you will no longer feel the need to head out for lunch. This reinforces the fact that hunger can be ignored. Admittedly, this is something that you've done at some point in your life. We often ignore hunger calls when there is something urgent we are doing. So, why don't you master how to ignore hunger and benefit from the ketosis state that your body might switch into? Generally, hunger doesn't surge beyond unmanageable levels. So if you were concerned about how to deal with hunger while fasting, rest assured that your body will help you achieve your goals. By entering into ketosis state, the body will burn fat for energy, which means you won't feel hungry, as the system will have all it requires to provide you with the energy you need until your next meal. Controlling your hunger is integral to your weight loss plan. It prevents you from overeating, and it also guarantees that you can ease into fasting as one of the ways to burn more fat and lose weight naturally. Chapter 6. Sugars. With weight and weight loss issues making headlines every day, carbohydrates, especially sugar, have been a source of major contention among most health researchers. Sugars are a form of simple carbs occurring naturally in foods and drinks. Added sugar in the foods and drinks we consume today is something that has led to many health issues. Too much sugar is associated with several health issues like diabetes, weight gain, and more. In the previous chapters, we've stressed a lot on the idea that too much sugar can send different signals to the brain and prevent your body from burning fat. This section will help you understand how you can reduce or eliminate sugar from your foods to ensure you achieve your weight loss goal. Why cut out added sugar? Why is it so important that you cut out sugar from your diet? Naturally, sugar is present in the foods and drinks you consume. Veggies, fruits, milk, grains, and cheese have sugar in them. However, manufacturers add sugar to the foods they process and package for human consumption. Cookies, ice cream, soda, and candy, for instance, contain intense degrees of added sugar. It's normally quite easy for you to determine the presence of added sugar in these foods due to both taste and basic food knowledge. Nevertheless, there are some foods that are not so obvious. For example, salad dressing, bread, yogurt, spaghetti sauce, and ketchup are less obvious. We often overlook the presence of added sugars in these foods, and this leads to poor health outcomes over time. Consuming sugar-laden foods, like those found in baked goods, candy, sugary cereals, and sweetened beverages, lead to weight gain. Doing so also puts you at a higher risk of suffering from other chronic conditions, such as heart disease, obesity, and diabetes. The following are reasons why added sugar will lead to weight gain. Lack of nutritional value. Added sugar lacks nutritional value to the body. It only increases the amount of calories in the foods you consume. These sugars are merely sweeteners meant to give food a better taste. The common forms of sweeteners that you may have used include corn, fructose, cane sugar, and agave. Consuming excess sugar, therefore, means that you will be loading your body with more calories than you burn. At the end of the day, expect to gain more weight. Added sugars in foods and drinks are digested differently compared to those found naturally. That said, they are not ideal sources of energy. In other natural foods, such as veggies, fruits, and dairy products, the body takes some time to process these foods. Consequently, they are better sources of fuel. Other health benefits from these foods include the fact that they have other vital nutrients, vitamins, and minerals. Limiting your added sugar intake might not cause weight gain, but indulging in these foods often will gradually contribute to potential increase in weight. Effects on blood sugar and hormone levels. Consuming excess sugar will also have an impact on your blood sugar levels. This is because blood sugar spikes lead to insulin resistance. Too much sugar might lead to a situation where your cells no longer respond effectively to insulin. Shockingly, over 30% of the US population have insulin resistance issues. Gunners 2019. The normal functioning of cells is affected by excess sugar intake, and this also promotes inflammation. The domino effect here is that your body will become more resistant to insulin, which is even more destructive. While insulin is resistant to blood sugar uptake, they maintain their responsiveness in storing fat. Therefore, the more insulin resistant your system is, the more fat will be stored. It is for this very reason that increased blood sugar and insulin resistance are linked to body fat storage, especially around the belly area. What's more, insulin resistance combined with high blood sugar also affects leptin hormone, a hormone responsible for controlling hunger. This hormone might also become resistant, and this means you will lose control of your hunger. Overeating is more likely, which worsens your weight loss goal. Foods with added sugars are less filling. As previously noted, foods with added sugars are empty calories. Snacking on candy, ice cream, cookies, and soda will only make you full for a few minutes or hours before you think of eating something else. Most of these foods are low in protein, and some even lack the nutrient completely. Protein is an important nutrient in foods that will ensure that you stay fuller for longer. It does this by stabilizing blood sugar levels and slowing down the digestion process. More importantly, proteins regulate hunger hormones. By consuming more proteins, you lower ghrelin levels and increase the levels of peptide YY. This means that you will feel fuller and you will not feel the need to snack or eat more food. When fasting, it's highly recommended that you increase your protein intake. High sugar foods also have low fiber content, a nutrient that helps reduce appetite. Hence, you may find yourself eating subsequent meals even after eating a whole bag of chips or other related foods. Increases the likelihood to overeat. Foods high in sugar, especially those rich in fructose, will have an impact on ghrelin and peptide YY hormone. These foods increase ghrelin levels while at the same time suppressing peptide YY hormone. Therefore, you're likely to be hungrier. By increasing your appetite, this might discourage you from thinking that weight loss is an achievable goal. Fructose will also have an impact on increasing your appetite since it affects the hypothalamus part of the brain. This is the section of the brain responsible for many functions such as calories burned, appetite regulation, and fat and carbs metabolism. Kabbalah 2019. It's also worth noting that your body will work against you when it comes to dealing with sugars. Naturally, we're predisposed to hanker for sweetness. Consumption of sugar is fueled by the fact that we usually crave sugary drinks and food. The sweet taste of these foods influence us to eat more of the same foods. Unfortunately, these foods tend to suppress body signals that we're full. Good carbs versus bad carbs, making smart choices. Still, in relation to the question of consuming the right amounts of sugar, it's important to draw a distinction between good and bad carbs. This is a highly debated topic, since several studies indicate that carbs can lead to weight gain. We all know that carbohydrates form an integral part of our healthy diets. For a healthy diet, you're always required to consume proteins, fats, and carbs. Therefore, it's important to understand there are good and bad carbs. This will help you avoid unhealthy food options, while making sure that you consume ideal foods that will help you burn more fat and lose weight. What are carbs? Carbohydrates, carbs, are molecules that contain atoms of carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. There are three main categories of carbs, including sugars, starches, and fiber. We consume these foods to help provide the body with energy. The carbs we consume are usually broken down into glucose, and this is what the body utilizes as fuel. When consumed in excess, carbs are stored in the form of fat for later use. Fiber is different because it's not directly used for energy. This doesn't mean that it's not important because the body uses fiber to feed the gut's bacteria. With the numerous concerns surrounding the idea of weight loss, fad diet programs have identified carbs as, quote, good or bad. But it's vital that you consider these foods as important because they are part of a balanced diet that you've always been recommended to stick to. Nonetheless, limiting your intake of refined carbs from processed foods is good for your health. Eliminating carbs from your diet can leave you feeling tired and weary. This is because the body will lack nutrients and the energy it needs to function optimally. Your best approach to include carbs in your diet is to draw a line between good and bad carbohydrates. Whole versus refined carbs. Not all carbohydrates are the same. There are different types of carbs and all have distinct effects on your health. Instead of labeling carbs as either good or bad, you should understand them in the form of complex and simple carbs. These two types of carbohydrates can be refined. Whole carbohydrates refers to the healthy version of carbs. They are unprocessed and are rich in fiber. However, they can be refined, a process that removes the natural fiber and other vital ingredients in them. Sources of whole carbs include barley, veggies, quinoa, legumes, whole grains, and potatoes. On the contrary, refined carbs include white bread, pastries, sugar-sweetened drinks, and other foods made with white flour. Research shows that refined carbs are associated with health issues such as type 2 diabetes and obesity. Gunners 2020. One of the main issues with refined carbs is that they often cause a spike in blood sugar levels. This affects insulin function, and it might fail to communicate to the brain that you should stop eating. As a result, you could overeat or indulge in unhealthy foods to satisfy your cravings. Refined carbs are unhealthy, and this forms part of the reason as to why they are usually considered as empty calories. Low-carb diets. With regards to the question of whether carbs are good or bad for your health, it's important to understand what it means to settle for low-carb diets. As you work towards losing weight, the idea of limiting your carb intake will, of course, cross your mind. So is it okay for you to settle for these diets? A low-carb diet will allow you to reduce your carb intake and up the intake of fats and proteins. Many studies indicate that low-carb diets can indeed help you to lose weight. Ketogenic diet, for example, has proven to be a practical way of losing weight by increasing your protein and fat intake while reducing carbs. You're likely to reduce weight because a low-carb diet tells your body to burn fat for energy instead of relying only on the carbs or sugars you consume. That said, it should be pointed out that carbohydrates are not the cause of obesity. This is a myth that should be debunked. Refined carbs and added sugars will lead to weight gain in the long run, but consuming healthy carbs will provide your body with essential nutrients and energy. Carbohydrates have been here for thousands of years. They are not new, and thus we should not claim that carbs are the main reason why people are having a difficult time managing their weight. The prevalence of obesity has been on the rise over the past few years, and the convenience we look for in processed, unhealthy foods might be the reason why gaining weight is easy and shedding these pounds is nothing but a challenge. Making smart carb choices. As a rule of thumb, carbohydrates form a vital part of a healthy, balanced diet. This means that you should strive to choose the right foods from this category. Quit labeling carbs as either good or bad. Instead, pay more attention to increasing your intake of whole and complex carbs. If possible, limit or eliminate processed foods from your diet. To simplify your diet and ensure you eat the right foods, be sure to include the following carb sources to your grocery list. Vegetables. Consume veggies from different food sources every day. Whole fruits. Bananas, apples, strawberries, etc. Nuts. Walnuts, macadamia nuts, hazelnuts, peanuts, almonds, etc. Legumes. Kidney beans, lentils, peas, etc. Seeds. Pumpkin seeds and chia seeds. Tubers. Sweet potatoes, potatoes, etc. Whole grains. Choose whole grains such as brown rice, quinoa, pure oats, etc. Chapter 7. Sleep and Hydration. Simplifying the whole idea of losing weight demands that you should be aware of the most important things that you shouldn't overlook. Eating right and regular exercise will indeed help you to burn more fat. Adopting weight loss strategies such as fasting will also play an important part in helping you lose weight faster than you ever thought possible. However, there are two things that might delay your weight loss goal: getting enough sleep and staying hydrated. People often overlook the importance of sleep in keeping their bodies hydrated when trying to lose weight. Yet, it's through these basic factors that you can find it easy to lose weight and keep it off in the long run. This chapter will take you through the importance of getting sufficient sleep and staying hydrated, and further how this is associated with weight loss. Your sleepy brain. Sleep less and rest assured that you will increase the likelihood of putting on more weight. When you're short on sleep, chances are that you will be tempted to reach for a large latte to help you get moving. Moreover, you could be tempted to skip exercise just because you're too tired or opt for takeout dinner since you're too lazy to prepare yourself a scrumptious meal at home. At the end of the day, you might also sleep late because you overate, and this affects your ability to sleep well. If this series of events occur once in a while, there is no reason to be worried. But if this keeps happening, your health stands to be compromised. Skimping on sleep often drives you to make poor decisions. You can compare it to being drunk. Your mental clarity is impaired when you don't get enough sleep. Plus, since you're tired, your brain will be on the lookout for reward centers. You will want to eat or do something that makes you feel good. It is for this reason that people settle for comfort foods when they feel the need to psych themselves up. Sleep and appetite. Science shows that lack of sleep or sleep deprivation can influence you to eat more. Cantor 2020. Unfortunately, you won't eat more healthy foods. The reward centers of your brain will be affected, and this means that you will reach for sugar-laden foods. The increase in appetite due to poor sleeping patterns is associated with the effect that sleep has on the hunger hormones leptin and ghrelin. Sleeping less leads to the increase in ghrelin hormone and a fall in the leptin hormone. When this happens, your appetite increases. A study conducted on 1,000 individuals showed that those who slept less had 14.9% higher ghrelin levels compared to those who slept longer. This study also showed that individuals who slept less had higher BMI, Pullen 2017. It's worth noting that sleep is just as important to the brain as food energy is important for the body. Getting less sleep will affect the normal functioning of the body. For instance, it can trigger a surge in cortisol levels. This is a stress hormone that will communicate to the body to store food as fat instead of burning it for fuel. Consequently, if this happens frequently, losing weight is nothing but a challenge. Your metabolism will also be affected when you don't get enough sleep. It affects how the body processes insulin. A drop in your insulin sensitivity is a likely effect. This means that your body will struggle to process food energy and it would opt to store it as fat. Of course, this doesn't mean that sleeping more will ensure you lose weight. The issue here is sleep deprivation, as it affects your body's metabolism and ultimately leads to weight gain. Tips for quality sleep. In today's busy world, getting up to 9 hours of sleep is difficult. With all the screens that we interact with throughout the day and even before we sleep, getting good quality sleep is also daunting. But the basics are straightforward. Here are a few tips that will help you get ample sleep and ensure you don't hit a plateau in your weight loss journey. Maintain a regular sleep schedule. Sleep affects your metabolism. Therefore, it's important to ensure that you have a regular sleeping schedule. This means that you should strive to sleep around the same time every day. Doing this will help keep your metabolism in check, and this will help your body to process and manage your blood sugar levels with ease. Sleep in a dark room. The environment where you sleep matters a great deal. Exposure to blue light from the TV and other digital devices will prevent you from getting quality sleep. Worse, the blue light from these devices affect your circadian rhythms. You may also be addicted to using these devices to help you sleep. Eat early. Eating and jumping to bed right away isn't the best way of getting enough rest after a tiresome day. Do your best to eat early so you can relax before going to bed. Manage stress. Stress affects us physically, emotionally, and behaviorally. While some level of stress might help you stay focused on your goals, too much of it can have adverse effects on your well-being. Common signs that you're dealing with stress include depression, tension, poor concentration, sleep problems, apathy, and anxiety. To ensure that stress doesn't affect your ability to sleep, you should learn how to manage your stress. Start by accessing what might be stressing you. To solve the issues you're facing, the first step is to identify the root cause. Are you overworking yourself? Do you have any relationship issues that you need to deal with? Establish the reasons behind your stress and do your best to find ideal solutions. Asking for help from friends and family is also another thing you should consider. Share your life challenges with people you trust. They will help you see past these challenges. Hydration to healthy weight loss. Staying hydrated is key to succeeding in your weight loss journey. There is no better way to hydrate yourself than drinking plain water. It might not provide you with any nutrients, but many studies support the idea that drinking water can help you in your weight loss goal. Nevertheless, the medical community is still not sure how water can impact your weight loss. Luo 2018. There is a positive correlation between increased water intake and weight loss. The following are reasons why water will be of great help when working to lose weight. Water suppresses your appetite. Water takes up space in your stomach. Therefore, the idea of drinking water will help ensure that hormones send signals to the brain that you're full. There are instances where you might think that you're hungry, especially when you're used to eating at certain times. Drinking a glass of water can help calm your hunger pangs. It's often recommended that you should drink some water to help prevent unnecessary snacking. Water increases calorie burning. Drinking water can also increase the calorie burning process in the body. It can also temporarily increase the calorie burning process when you're resting. A study conducted on people who increased their water intake showed that they burned 2 to 3% more calories after upping their water intake. Water helps in waste removal. Staying dehydrated gives the body a difficult time removing wastes, such as feces and urine. By increasing your water intake, your kidneys will function effectively, as water will help in filtering out toxins in your system. When dealing with digestion problems such as indigestion and diarrhea, water can be a powerful reliever. Generally, drinking more water helps the body to get rid of wastes from your system, which may be part of the additional pounds adding up to your weight. Water helps to burn fat. Dehydration also impairs the body's ability to metabolize carbohydrates or stored fat. This is a process called lipolysis. This process begins with hydrolysis, the first stage where water molecules mix with triglycerides, fats, to form fatty acids and glycerol. Staying hydrated helps to burn fat from the foods and drinks you consume. If you're fasting, water will also make it easier for the body to access stored fat and burn to get energy. Water increases your performance. Water also helps boost your performance, especially during workouts. Therefore, when you're jogging or lifting weights in the gym, you should remember to drink plenty of water. This guarantees that your body performs at its best. Bear in mind that working out for longer hours might mean that more calories are expelled. What about sports drinks? Most people think that sports drinks provide one with energy during workouts. This is nothing but a myth. These drinks are loaded with added sugars, preservatives, sodium, and artificial colors. All these ingredients will hamper your weight loss goal, so it's best that you steer clear of these drinks. Apart from helping you lose weight in the long run, there are many benefits of drinking water more often. It's never too late to start increasing your water intake. All it takes is to continuously remind yourself that you need to take a glass of water during the day. Moreover, strive to change your sleeping habits. Sure, you might have a tight schedule that prevents you from sleeping early, but you should prioritize your health above anything else. Your health is your wealth. Develop a habit of sleeping early. This will give you enough time to allow your body to rest and also ensure that your weight loss campaign doesn't stall. Simple changes in your lifestyle is all it takes to start noticing the benefits of sleeping early and staying hydrated. Chapter 8. Small changes equal big results. Losing weight is associated with all sorts of challenges. The worst thing that most people do is to complicate the whole process. It takes time to lose all the weight that you gained over time. Therefore, you need to be patient with yourself as you do all that you can to burn fat and keep off the weight in the long run. Forget about the crash diets that have flooded the internet. Dieting rarely works. There are a few people who can attest to the fact that dieting helped them lose weight sustainably. When we fail to achieve our goals while dieting, we often rush to blame ourselves. We trust these diets and weight loss programs to the extent that we doubt ourselves. Forgive yourself for the past mistakes you've made that might have contributed to your obesity or overweight challenge. Focusing on your past might not be the best way of motivating yourself to lose weight from this point moving forward. It's important to establish healthy ways of motivating yourself to stay focused on your weight loss goal. This means embracing your weaknesses while leveraging your strengths. Appreciate your efforts from time to time. Don't be too harsh on yourself if things fail to work out in the short run. The best thing about losing weight is that you don't have to be an athlete to realize the benefits of weight loss. Losing even a few pounds will make you feel good about yourself. You will be more than happy knowing that you're in control of your life and your health. With this positive mentality, there is no doubt that you will be fueled to continue eating right and exercising more often to lose weight. Motivate yourself to lose weight. How do you find the motivation to get started on your weight loss goal? You might start thinking that you have a long way to go for you to finally achieve your health goal. If you convince yourself that it will take a lot from you to accomplish this goal, you will find it overwhelming. Worse, you won't even feel the need to start this journey. Why? Because to you, the perception you've developed is that it's impossible to lose weight. Finding your motivation and staying motivated is key to winning this feat. Here's how to do it. Determine your whys. The first step to take is to clearly define the reasons why you want to lose weight. Write these reasons down and take some time to reflect on whether these reasons are motivating enough. The reasons you have should be motivating enough to guarantee that you focus on achieving your goal, even when everything seems to be against you. It might also be a wise idea to take up a week in reflecting on the reasons why it's important for you to lose weight. Maybe you want to improve your overall health, or that you want to win the diabetes battle. It could also be that you want to live longer and spend more time with your family. Don't just lose weight because your friend said so, or that your doctor recommended it. Lose weight out of intrinsic motivation that comes from within. Set realistic expectations. Losing weight doesn't happen overnight. For that reason, it's important for you to set realistic expectations. Losing up to 2 pounds a week is a reasonable goal to set for yourself. However, claiming that you will lose 10 pounds a week only sets you up for disappointment and frustration. The more you accomplish your set goals, the more you will be motivated to keep going. So be careful with the goal-setting approach that you use. Focus on process goals. Most people trying to lose weight focus more on outcome goals. You might start this journey with the end in mind, thinking of the rockin' body you will get after losing weight. Sounds like a great way of motivating yourself, but it's never the best way to ensure that you don't lose sight of what you need to do every day. Focusing too much on the outcome goal might prevent you from being fully motivated towards your main goal. The problem with outcome goals is that they make it seem like your target goal is too distant. This could leave you feeling overwhelmed, and at this point it's easy to think of giving up. Instead, set SMART, specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, time-bound process goals. For instance, commit yourself to eating the right foods every day while at the same time ensuring that you're hydrated. If you're thinking of incorporating exercise to your weight loss plan, walking for 30 minutes daily is a great way to keep your body moving. Use a plan that suits you. Having a plan to stick to while losing weight will help you stay on course. However, it's vital that you settle for a plan that fits your lifestyle. It's good to be ambitious, but overambition will make the whole process overwhelming. Choose a plan that you can easily follow without sacrificing too much. In terms of the foods you will be eating, ensure you find the right foods that are easy to access. Dieting might work for some people, but it doesn't mean that it will also work for you. Our bodies function differently. The worst mistake you can make is to go for an all-or-nothing approach that will simply make it difficult for you to even think that it's possible to lose weight. Keep a weight loss journal. It's important to keep track of your progress as you work toward losing weight. To do this, self-monitoring is key. You need to track whether you're moving in the right direction. The good thing about monitoring your progress is that you will know whether there are changes you need to make to improve your health outcomes. Besides, through journaling, you will be able to identify potential foods that are more effective in helping you burn more fat compared to others. Journal everything that goes on around your health. This means noting down what you eat, how you eat, and whether you engage in physical activities. You should also consider writing down how you feel. Some days you will be motivated to lose weight, and on other days you will want to binge on unhealthy foods. Write the experience down. Celebrate your accomplishments. Losing weight is indeed a challenge. This means that you should focus on celebrating the small accomplishments that you make along the way. Doing so is the best way of keeping yourself motivated towards the big goal. It doesn't matter how small the accomplishment might be, it's worth celebrating it. Turn to social media networks and share your achievement. Your friends and family will provide you with the emotional support you need. Their positive comments will help you see that you're doing something that will indeed ensure you live a better and happier life. Reward yourself from time to time. Take yourself out for some nice treats. This might be a good time to eat some of the foods you love. However, be careful not to overdo it. You can reward yourself with other things, including going to a movie, taking on a new course, or buying yourself something nice. Find social support. A supportive environment is another great way of building the right attitude towards losing weight. The people you spend time with should continuously remind you of the reasons why you started this journey. Talk to your friends and family about your intentions. Make it clear that you want to lose weight to help you live a better life. They should be there for you when you need them most. Finding an accountability partner is also a good idea. You can choose to walk down this path with one of your friends or family members who also wants to lose weight. Involve your partner by asking them to support you in case you feel lost or unmotivated. The support team you have will ensure that you don't lose hope in achieving your goal. Think and talk positively. It doesn't make any sense that you want to lose weight while you're talking negatively about yourself and the whole idea of losing weight. You need to have positive expectations that you're doing something that will yield positive results in the end. A positive mentality will ensure that you're confident enough to counter challenges that you face along the way. So start changing your self-talk. Tell yourself there's a good reason why you want to lose weight and that you will stay committed. Think positively about the steps you will take to make sure you don't give up. More importantly, surround yourself with people who will influence you to think and talk positively. Appreciate your body. How you think about yourself is also another factor that will contribute to weight loss. Sure, you might not like what you see in the mirror, but it's important to change this and start seeing yourself as a work in progress. The mere fact that you're concerned about your health means that you're doing what you can to improve your health. So appreciate your body and the transformation that will be taking place. The more you love yourself and show that you're ready to make changes, the more likely you will want to eat right and treat yourself better. These subtle changes will indeed contribute towards achieving the big weight loss goal. Avoid perfectionism. An all-or-nothing approach towards weight loss will set you up for failure. It's easy to give up on your mission the moment you face challenges. For instance, if you fail to control your cravings, you might conclude that there is no need for you to continue with your weight loss plan. But it doesn't have to be this way. In fact, an overly restrictive plan is not realistic. The key issue here is to make sure you're simplifying the whole process of losing weight. This means doing your best to focus on healthy foods and activities that do not take a huge toll on you. You should also understand that making mistakes is part of the process. Consequently, you don't have to beat yourself up when you slip. Instead, forgiving yourself and getting back on your feet will ensure that you make significant progress over time. You should realize that one single mistake should not derail you from achieving your health goal. In a word, finding the motivation you need to lose weight is key to a successful weight loss campaign. The journey might not be easy, and this means finding the right motivation to get started is imperative. Stop procrastinating the need to take control of your health. You've been doing this for some time now, and this has contributed to your poor health. Decide today that you will start by making small changes that will help you accomplish your goal to lose weight and be happy. Remember, developing the right habits towards your weight loss journey is the surest way to stay motivated. Final thoughts. Congratulations on taking this bold step to transform your life for good. One thing that you should realize is that change doesn't just happen without you initiating it. If things are to change in your life, it's important that you take the necessary steps to ensure that your life changes in the way you would want. With regards to losing weight sustainably, there is nothing that should stop you from walking down this path. Yes, losing weight is a challenge, but making small lifestyle changes is what it takes for you to start seeing the benefits of shedding the extra pounds you've been carrying around all this time. While you're thinking of finding a magic formula that will help you burn more fat and lose weight in the long run, perhaps it's important to think of the challenges that you might face. For instance, take a moment to ask yourself why people struggle to lose weight. Why is it that some regain all the weight they lost despite working tirelessly to lose weight for months or years? Asking yourself these questions helps to eliminate some of the stumbling blocks that usually prevent people from losing weight sustainably. Some people find it daunting to even think of losing weight because of the perception they have towards it. Many tend to think that they will have to sacrifice a lot for them to lose weight, including waking up early to jog or engaging in grueling workouts. You may start thinking that you will have to stop eating some of the foods you love, or that you will have to engage in grueling workouts for you to see positive results. But the truth is, it doesn't have to be that way. Losing weight might be a challenge, but there is a way around the hurdles to further simplify the whole process. The last thing you should have in mind is to think that you will lose weight in a month or less. Setting realistic goals is integral to sustainable weight loss. Why should you overwhelm yourself by assuming that you might lose weight within a short period of time? What's the rush? It took you years to gain all the weight. Therefore, it should take some time for you to also lose this weight. The best thing you can do is to be patient with yourself. Give yourself enough time. Set both short and long-term goals. Start looking towards losing a few pounds every month and committing yourself every day to eating right and exercising regularly. The dieting industry is a booming business because there is no one single way to lose weight. Unfortunately, the diverse information and misinformation people have access to makes the whole process of losing weight challenging. Individuals are confused because they are not sure what is right for them in terms of losing weight. It is for this reason that many folks will jump from one weight loss program to the next. At the end of the day, when all these strategies fail, they give up. Worse, some even go to the extent of blaming themselves, saying that they might not have tried their best to follow the weight loss programs. The reality is that most of these programs don't work. Why do you think most people fail to succeed in their weight loss journey despite doing their best to follow recommendations from diet and exercise programs? It's because these programs only drive your body to work against you. Consequently, to simplify the process and lose weight with ease, it's important to allow your body to work for you. Fasting, for example, is one effective weight loss strategy that turns your body into a fat-burning machine. Fasting is not new, as it has been there for centuries. People fast for different reasons. Some fast because of spiritual reasons, while others fast to heal their bodies. Research has proven that fasting can indeed help you lose weight. Fasting is not starvation. It's simply voluntarily denying yourself food for a certain period. By doing this, your body enters into ketosis state. This is where the body turns to the fat reserves for energy. The more the body burns more fat for energy instead of glycogen, the more you're likely to lose weight. The thought of fasting might appear overwhelming at first, especially if you've never tried it before. However, science shows that you will not struggle dealing with hunger. Keep in mind that the body will be getting all the energy it needs to continue performing normally, even without food. Hunger is a bully that you should learn to tame. Don't allow hunger to stop you from achieving your weight loss goal. Eat the right foods that will keep you satiated during the day. What this means is that you should avoid eating foods that only fill your belly for a short period before you start thinking of snacking. Proteins are an ideal option as they awaken satiating hormones. You are what you eat. Eat the right foods more often, and you can be sure that you will lose weight gradually in the long run. Your body depends on the foods you eat to get nutrients and energy. Therefore, you should strive to ensure that you're always eating healthy foods. Food is complicated, and the worst thing you should do is to complicate the foods you should be eating. Keep it simple. To eat a balanced diet, you need to make sure you're eating enough proteins, carbs, and vitamins. There are different food options from these categories. Always ensure that you eat the recommended foods that support your weight loss campaign. For example, reducing the intake of carbs might help here. How well you manage your cravings for sugar-laden foods is key to a healthy weight. Processed foods are high in sugars, and eating more of these foods will only hamper your weight loss goal. It's difficult to resist these foods because they trigger the reward centers of the brain. But when you have a realistic goal in mind, you will be motivated to stay disciplined and ensure you avoid these foods. Of course, you might not eliminate them completely, but eating them once in a while might not affect you that much. The only problem is when you can't stop yourself from binging on these foods. Maybe you're thinking it would take you several months or years before you finally lose all the weight you intend to lose. Well, it's good to look into the future and visualize yourself being healthy and fit. However, it's imperative to break down your big goals into mini goals. This helps to keep you motivated. The thought that it might take you up to 2 years to lose weight successfully is discouraging. But if you set a goal to lose 20 pounds in 5 months, this is more motivating. It sounds achievable, and you will be more motivated toward this small goal. So think about your future, but live in the present moment. The actions you take now will have an impact on your life in the next few months or years to come. Life is what you make it. You have power over the decisions you make that will significantly impact your life forever. You've taken a bold step to equip yourself with the information you need to burn more fat and lose weight in the long run. This book will help you see that losing weight is a challenge you can overcome. Through these challenges, there is no doubt that you will lose weight. One of the most important things to remember is that no one is rushing you to lose weight fast. Enjoy the journey. Use it as an experience to tune in and understand yourself better. Losing weight is a holistic journey that will ensure you fall in love with yourself. Good luck.